Dear students, now we will continue the hypersecretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone causes Cushing's disease. As I said, the effect of this hormone is commonly noticed in adults. That is why this condition is commonly seen in adults. Now, this Cushing's disease is characterized by secondary hypertension, secondary hypertension, secondary hypertension, then brown pigmentation of the skin, brown pigmentation of the skin, brown pigmentation of the skin. Then it is also characterized by loss of sexual functions. It is also characterized by loss of sexual functions, loss of sexual functions, and also characterized by growth of growth of mustache and beard. Okay, growth of mustache and beard in women. In women. So these are the symptoms of the Cushing's disease that you should keep in our mind. I think you are getting it. So hypersecretion of ACTH causes Cushing's disease. It is characterized by the secondary hypertension. This I have given while studying the causes for the secondary hypertension in body fluids and circulation. Brown pigmentation of the skin, loss of sexual functions, growth of mustache and beard in females. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫಿಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ತರ ಫಿಮೇಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೀಸೆ ಗಡ್ಡ ಬರುತ್ತಂತೆ. Got it? What I'm telling you. So these are the symptoms of Cushing's disease. Next, hyposecretion of ACTH causes Addison's disease. Hyposecretion of ACTH causes Addison's disease. Addison's disease. This disease is characterized by hypotension, nothing but low BP. Hypotension, low BP. Then it is also characterized by hypotension, low BP. Then loss of sodium and chloride along with the urine. Loss of sodium and chloride along with the urine. Loss of sodium and chloride along with the urine. Digestive disturbance. Digestive disturbance. Muscular weakness. Muscular weakness. Muscular weakness. I think you are getting it. Following me. So, hypersecretion of ACTH causes Addison's disease. It is characterized by hypotension. Hypotension. Sorry, I did the mistake here. So here this is the demineralization of bones. Yes, demineralization. Demineralization. Mineralization. Demineralization of bones. Demineralization of bones. That you should remember. Here it is characterized by the brown pigmentation of the skin. Brown pigmentation of the skin. Brown pigmentation of the skin. That you should remember. So these are the symptoms of the Addison's disease. So hyposecretion of ACTH in adults causes Addison's disease, characterized by hypotension, brown pigmentation of the skin, loss of sodium and chloride along with the urine, digestive disturbance, muscular weakness. Hypersecretion of ACTH in adults causes Cushing's disease, characterized by secondary hypertension, demineralization of bones, loss of sexual functions, growth of mustache and beard in women. Clear? So this is the third half pituitary hormone. Next, fourth one is the follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone. FSH. Dear students, Here one point you should remember. One more hormone will come, LH. Both FSH and LH are also called as gonadotropic hormones because they induce the reproductive cycles in both male and female. That is why these are also called as gonadotropics, are also called as reproductive hormones. Both follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone are called gonadotropins, also called as reproductive hormones, because they induce the reproductive cycles in both male and female. Okay, first let us into the follicle stimulating hormone. It performs the functions both in male and female. First, let us come to the what are the functions of the follicle stimulating hormone in female. Number one, it stimulates the growth and maturation. It stimulates the growth and maturation of graphene follicle. It stimulates the growth and maturation of the graphene follicle. You remember this. The matured ovarian follicle containing ovum is called graphene follicle. Matured ovarian follicle containing ovum is called graphene follicle. Got it? No? In females, no. If the graphene follicle matures, then only egg is released. If it is not matured, then it leads to the sterility. That also should keep in our mind. Okay, next, the details of this graphene follicle you are going to study in second year, both in practicals as well as in theory. Okay, next one is it helps in the secretion of female sex hormone is called estrogen. It helps in the secretion of female sex hormone is called estrogen. So these are the two functions of FSH as in case of female. Okay, now let us come to the male. Follicle stimulating hormone in males responsible for the development of follicle stimulating hormone in males. It is responsible for the development of seminiferous tubules. Development of seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules. I think you know that these are the structural and functional units of the mammalian testes. Growth and development of the seminiferous tubules. Then it also induces the spermatogenesis. Induces the spermatogenesis. Nothing but formation of the sperms. Since the follicle stimulating hormone induces the formation of the male gametes now, it is also called as gameto. It is also called as gametokinetic factor. It is also called as gametokinetic factor. That also should be known. So these are the functions of FSH as in case of both male and female. Clear? So follicle stimulating hormone in female responsible for the growth and maturation of the graphene follicle. As I said, matured ovarian follicle containing ovum is called graphene follicle. It helps in the secretion of female sex hormone is called estrogen. Clear? Next. In males, follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for the development of the seminiferous tubules and it induces the formation of the sperms, nothing but spermatogenesis. Since FSH is responsible for the formation of the male gametes now, hence it is also called as gametokinetic factor. Gametokinetic factor. I think it is very clear for you. So this much I should remember. So this is the information about the follicle stimulating hormone. So next to gonadotropin is the LH, luteinizing hormone. Let us into the next we'll go for the luteinizing hormone. Yes, look at the book. Luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone. It is also one of the gonadotropin. This is the fifth pituitary hormone. Luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormone. Nothing but LH. As I said, this is also gonadotropin because induces the reproductive cycles in both male and female. Clear? Okay. First, let us come to the what are the functions of LH in female. Number one, it always stimulates the ovulation. Hence, it is also called as ovulatory hormone. Hence, it is also called as ovulatory hormone. You remember this. LH stimulates the process of releasing egg from the ovary into the body cavity. He is called ovulation. Without this hormone in female, no, ovulation doesn't take place. Then it also leads to the sterility. Without this, there is no growth and maturation of graphene follicle. If the graphene follicle will not mature, no, egg is not released. That you should remember here. I think you are getting. Yes. Next one. It helps in the formation of. It helps in the formation of the corpus luteum. It helps in the formation of the corpus luteum. The details you are going to study in second year. See, after ovulation, no, the ruptured follicle cells get filled with yellow pigments and form a mass of yellowish tissue. That is only called corpus luteum, also called as yellow body. So this LH helps in the formation of the corpus luteum. Clear? Next one. It helps in the secretion of another female sex hormone is called progesterone. It helps in the secretion of another female sex hormone is called progesterone. So these are the functions of LH as in case of female. Number one, it stimulates the ovulation. Hence, it is also called as ovulatory hormone. Number two, it helps in the formation of the corpus luteum. Number three, helps in the secretion of another female sex hormone is called progesterone. So, estrogen and progesterone are the female sex hormones. Clear up? Okay. Now let us come to the what are the functions of LH in the males? Dear students, here one point you should remember. In males, we cannot call LH. We should call ICSH. Nothing but interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Interstitial cell stimulating hormone. Interstitial cell stimulating hormone. ICSH, that you should keep in our mind. In males, it is called ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone. It stimulates the interstitial cells or Leydig cells of testes, Leydig cells of testes to secrete male sex hormone is called testosterone. Male sex hormone is called testosterone. I think it is very clear for you. So this is the function of ICSH as in case of male. You know that Leydig cells are also called as interstitial cells. A group of 3 to 4 cells present between the seminiferous tubules, as in case of testes, are nothing but Leydig cells, also called as interstitial cells. This interstitial cell stimulating hormone stimulates the Leydig or interstitial cells to secrete the male sex hormone is called testosterone. Clear? I think you are getting it. So we have completed the 5 hormones. Then sixth hormone is luteotropic hormone. Luteotropic hormone. Luteotropic hormone. LDH. It is also called as lactogenic hormone. Lactogenic hormone, also called as prolactin, also called as prolactin. Luteotropic hormone, also called as lactogenic hormone, also called as prolactin, also called as prolactin. Look at the board. Let us come to the functions of LDH, luteotropic hormone, or lactogenic hormone, or prolactin. This hormone stimulates the growth and development of mammary glands. Growth and development of mammary glands. And it stimulates the production of milk. It stimulates the production of milk in the females after childbirth. In female after childbirth. After childbirth. That is should keep in our mind. I think it is very clear. So, it stimulates the growth and development of mammary glands and production of milk and production of milk in females. Production of milk in females after childbirth. After the childbirth. So this is the first function that you should keep in mind. I think it is very clear for you. Next, listen, look at the book. It also stimulates the ovary to secrete estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen and progesterone. So, luteotropic hormone, also called as lactogenic hormone, also called as prolactin. It stimulates the growth and development of mammary glands and production of milk in females after childbirth. It stimulates the ovary to secrete estrogen and progesterone. Clear? Huh? So these are the functions of the LTH or lactogenic hormone, also called as prolactin. Okay. Next, last hormone of the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland is melanocyte stimulating hormone. Melanocyte stimulating, melanocyte stimulating hormone. Melanocyte stimulating hormone. Melanocyte stimulating hormone. MSH. MSH. Melanocyte stimulating hormone. It has only one function. MSH responsible for the synthesis and distribution of melanin pigment granules. Melanin pigment granules. Pigment granules in melanocytes responsible for the darkening of the skin. You remember this. This is the function of the MSH. This is responsible for the synthesis and distribution of melanin pigment granules in melanocytes responsible for the darkening of the skin. Dear students, here one point you should remember, deficiency or absence of melanin pigments now, it may lead to the genetic diseases. That is called albinism. That is called albinism. Albinism. It is not in your syllabus, but you should remember it. Deficiency or absence of the melanin pigment granules causes a genetic disease called albinism. The persons who are suffering from this condition now are called albinos. This disease is characterized by silvery hair on the surface of the body, and their skin is very sensitive to the sunlight. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರೈಟ್ ಸನ್ಲೈಟ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಬರ್ನ್ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೆಲನಿನ್ ಪಿಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗ್ರಾನ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸಚ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಲ್ಬಿನೋಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾ? ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Nothing but adenohypophysis. One is the growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, luteotropic hormone, melanocyte stimulating hormone. Last hormone has only one function, responsible for the synthesis and distribution of melanin pigment granules in melanocytes, responsible for the darkening of the skin. Clear? Huh? Yes. So these are the hormones of the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Now let us come to the hormones of neurohypophysis or posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Hormones of neurohypophysis or posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Hormones of neurohypophysis or posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Yes, dear students, look at the board. Now let us come to the hormones of neurohypophysis. Hormones of neurohypophysis. Nothing but posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Yes, how many hormones secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland? In the NEET, you can expect this question. Hormones secreted by the neurohypophysis. Options G, H, ACTH, FSH, none of these. Which option you are going to select here? Yes. Dear students, here the answer is none of these. Because no, posterior lobe doesn't secrete any hormones. Does not secrete any hormones. But it stores two hormones. These two hormones are secreted by hypothalamus. Got it now? So posterior lobe of the pituitary gland or neurohypophysis of the pituitary gland doesn't secrete any hormone, but it stores two hormones secreted by hypothalamus. The two hormones are, one is oxytocin. One is the oxytocin. Listen, look at the book. Let us consider what are the functions of oxytocin. It is also called as birth hormone. Okay. It performs the following functions. Number one, it stimulates the contraction of the smooth muscles of uterus, smooth muscle fibers of the uterus during childbirth. I think you are getting it. It stimulates the smooth muscle fibers of the uterus during childbirth. It stimulates the contraction of the smooth muscle fibers of the uterus during childbirth. Dear students, birth time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸೆಕ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ the details you are going to study in second year. A few weeks before childbirth, the fetus rotates within the uterus until its head lies towards the cervix. This is called head fixation of the criteria. That signals goes to the hypothalamus, secretes large amount of oxytocin hormone. As I said, this hormone stimulates the smooth muscle fibers of the uterus during childbirth. ನೋಡಿ, ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಈ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಡಿಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೋ at that time most of the gynecologists are going to do the cesarean operation. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ? I think you are getting it. So ಈ ಮಸಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಆಗಬೇಕಂತ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ವಿತೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ದ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್. ಅವಾಗ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಬರ್ತ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗಿ and it is responsible for the childbirth. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಬರ್ತ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. This is the one function. Number two, the details you are going to study in second year. The event is there, childbirth or parturition. There we are going to give much information about the oxytocin hormone. Yes, next one. It stimulates the mammary glands. To eject milk out immediately after childbirth. It stimulates the mammary glands to eject milk out immediately after the childbirth. See, when the baby is within the uterus, mammary glands can't able to secrete the milk. Not only human beings, even in the cow you can take. You know that in cow, mammary glands of the cow is called udder, has a 4 nipples through which milk is secreted immediately after the birth of the calf. When the calf is inside the uterus, ಆ ಹಡ್ಡರ್ ನಿಪ್ಪಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಎಳೆರಿ, ಒಂದು ಡ್ರಾಪ್ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಹಂಗೆ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಎಳಿತಾ ಇರಿ, ಚಾಟ್ಸ್ ಉರಿಯುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕೌಗುನು ಪೇನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಆದರೆ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದ ಬರ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಾಫ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಎಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is the influence of oxytocin. Like that, even in human beings also. When the baby is inside the uterus, milk mammary glands can't able to secrete the milk out. Immediately after the childbirth, now these mammary glands eject milk out due to the influence of the oxytocin. ಈ ಸಿಸೇರಿಯನ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಸಿಸೇರಿಯನ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅಂತ ಮದರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಗು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ 1 ವೀಕ್ 2 ವೀಕ್ಸ್ 3 ವೀಕ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲವರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂತ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪೀಡಿಯಾಟ್ರಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಮ್ಮನಿಗೆ, ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಬರಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿರಲಿ ನೆಗ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ, ನಿಪ್ಪಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಗು ಮೌತಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ತಾ ಇರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮದರ್ ಹೈಪೋಥಾಲಮಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ಸ್. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ಸ್ ಹೈಪೋಥಾಲಮಸ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೀಟ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಟೋಸಿನ್. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಿಮ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ಸ್ ದ mammary glands to eject milk out. Clear? Next, number 3, it helps in the movement of sperm. It helps in the movement of sperm in the uterus. Movement of sperm in uterus after copulation. After copulation helps in the movement of sperms in uterus after copulation. Generally during copulation now, the sperms released in the upper part of the vagina near the cervix. The released sperms move towards the egg in the fallopian tube with the help of the tails, and also due to the influence of this hormone also. You remember this? I think it is very clear for you. Got it? So these are the 3 functions of the oxytocin. I'll repeat once again. Neurohypophysis or posterior lobe of the pituitary gland doesn't secrete any hormone, but it stores 2 hormones secreted by the hypothalamus. They are oxytocin and antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. Oxytocin, also called as birth hormone, stimulates the smooth contraction of the smooth muscle fibers of the uterus during childbirth. It stimulates the mammary glands to eject milk out immediately after the childbirth. It also helps in the movement of sperms in the uterus after copulation. Clear? Next, let us come to the antidiuretic hormone, also called as vasopressin. The details of this hormone also we have completed in hormonal regulation of the kidney functions. Okay, look at the book. Number 1, it performs the following functions: enables the reabsorption of water in the nephrons of kidneys. Enables the reabsorption of water in the nephrons of kidneys. This is the one function. Without ADH, DCT can't able to absorb water from the glandular filtrate that we have discussed in excreted products and their elimination. Enables the reabsorption of water in the nephrons of kidneys. Then it increases the blood pressure and the glandular filtration rate by decreasing the lumen of afferent arteriole. It increases the blood pressure and glandular filtration rate by decreasing the lumen of the afferent arteriole. Next, hyposecretion of ADH causes hyposecretion of ADH results in excretion of large quantity of dilute urine. This is called diabetes insipidus, also called as water diuresis. Diabetes insipidus, also called as water diuresis. Hyposecretion of ADH results in excretion of the large quantity of dilute urine. So this condition is called diabetes insipidus, also called as water diuresis. Then hypersecretion of ADH results in excretion of the small quantity of concentrated urine. So this condition is called antidiuresis. So this we have already discussed in hormonal regulation of kidney functions. So these are the 4 functions of ADH or vasopressin. Clear? So number 1, it enables the ADH or antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. It enables the reabsorption of water in the nephrons of the kidneys, particularly in the distal convoluted tubule. It increases the blood pressure and glandular filtration rate by decreasing the lumen of the afferent arteriole. Hyposecretion of ADH results in excretion of large quantity of dilute urine. So this condition is called diabetes insipidus, also called as water diuresis. Then hypersecretion of ADH results in excretion of small quantity of concentrated urine. This is called antidiuresis. Clear? So this much you should remember. So with this we have completed the hormones of the pituitary gland, both adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Dear students, next class will go for the other endocrine glands. Today we have completed only one endocrine gland, that is called pituitary gland. Okay, thank you.